Early this calendar year, 2026, I visited with a friend who I had met in college. I was in the film school. He wasn't, but he was making movies and I wasn't. So you can see what a funny little thing that was.
Yeah, right.
He put in my hands a book called Best Movie Year Ever, How 1999 Blew Up the Big Screen by a journalist and now book writer named Brian Raftery. These kinds of surveys that choose an arbitrary point in time to say, everything depends on this. I'm sold by the bravado that goes into that, but I'm also to a degree in agreement.
Reading this stuff back, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, yeah, oh, that did come out this year.
Right.
But also, it's interesting because the author doesn't really sort of weigh in too heavily on the actual, like whether he liked the movie or not, or whether it was good or not. It basically is just kind of like an overview of the group of films that he selected and the way in which they sort of made their entrance onto the scene, and then kind of what happened afterwards, sort of, or what they represented.
I think that's correct. It's a cultural history and not a textual analysis. What he offers that I have no ability to give the world is access to more than 100 celebrities, important personalities, whether they're performers or the crew of these movies. He interviews them and they're excerpted at great length in quotation, and they're well cited. So I don't think he's bluffing.
And a lot of them are quite informative. Like take Blair Witch Project, for example. He had like lots of details about the actual premiere of that film, the way the actors were kind of treated and that kind of stuff that I was oblivious to. And I was an early adopter or fan of that film.
An idea that comes up a lot when we examine cultural products is the way it memory holes you if you were alive at the same time. So for me, that was the case. When, for example, he wants to talk about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
That's the one that instantly came to mind.
And Jar Jar Binks is on the cover of the book. Like, I'm drawn to that because it puts me back in the place I was at that time. The other thing that it invites is the issue of periodization. By that I mean, this is about 1999. It's in the title of the book. And so we borrowed that as a way to sketch our series. But the trouble is, 1999 is an unclaimed thing. Movies have a long life to get made. Our opening text is a movie called Following, Christopher Nolan's feature film debut. But it debuted in 1998. It didn't find an audience, that scant little group of people who saw it, until 1999. The final movie in our series is Wad, The Life and Times of John C. Holmes, which I think was made in 1999 and did a festival circuit, and I saw it in a theater in New York City in 2001. So these movies are spread out over a period of time and can't just be cleanly dropped into a 12-month period. Raftery acknowledges that in this book. He includes Following. So I find myself feeling very glad that my friend Chris Metzler put the book by Brian Raftery in my hands. I think it's a good book. I wanted to investigate this period of time more deeply than I feel he did because, as you say, his book is a lot of quotation and setting who was doing what and when, but it's not as much about what do we think about it. The very clear example that comes from this is, and it's covered in the book, the Academy Award winner for 1999 was American Beauty.
Right.
In 2026, we can't mention that movie and not know about Kevin Spacey's career since 1999, his personal picadillos.
Yeah.
To pick the sort of lightest word that I can apply.
At the time, I recall thinking that the Academy had made the right decision.
Me too.
Now, I don't think that so much. As we've talked about with the passage of time and like allowing art to kind of steep in our collective consciousness or respective consciousnesses, my opinion of that film is not as strong now as it once was, but that's why we're going to talk about it, to explore why.
From his epilogue, Raftery writes, 2 decades after the culture rupture, that was 1999, movies have somehow managed to simultaneously expand and shrink. Major studio films have never been more expensive, with budgets of $150 million to $200 million becoming so normal, they're barely worth marveling at anymore. And because of those costs, the mega movies need to reach as many people as possible, which sometimes means they have to say as little as possible.
The most popular art can't possibly be that good, because the more people it appeals to, the less specificity there can be. 1999, best movie year ever? I guess the jury's still out.
Boop boobity doo.